You are now watching Believe. Do you believe?
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Believe in Bills. Of course, I am joined as always with the two legends, Coach Muki Hawkins and Reuben Brown himself. Tough week, but we're gonna make it through it. What's going on, fellas? How y'all feeling?
Bye, humbug.
The sky is falling. Mook, the sky ain't falling. It's game number three in the books. We going into 4. We got a long way to go.
Right.
Absolutely. We got we got the Baltimore Ravens coming up, but we're going to touch on the Dolphins game a little bit. So to start us off with, we're going to have our kickoff as usual, right? So Coach, tell us just about what was some of the things that went wrong in Miami, that helped them pull it out.
Well, first and foremost, one thing that went wrong before all that, I guess I put my foot in my mouth. All right. For all the Dolphins fans that I said that the Dolphins wasn't on the Bills level, let me just go ahead and
no, you don't have to eat that. No.
Put my foot in my mouth, right? Because the Bills didn't, do what they should have did. But you give Dolphins credit. They didn't make no mistakes. And the Bills made mistakes after mistake, and it kind of cost them the game there. So learn, like Ruben said, it's only week 3. We'll see, who's built to last. So quite the experience. And again, the Bills are last 8 games that was close. They can't win it. And I think now, when you really look at it, the Bills in close games don't know when to be aggressive. And that's what I'm figuring out with them. But football is an aggressive sport.
I'm glad you said that. Something came up in the game that made me think of that. And even though the Bills look great overall, I got an instance in the game where I think that happened, and it was the tide that started turning things.
Right. It's just, what went wrong out there. I mean, but, it's no excuse. I mean, these guys are professionals. They just didn't go out there and get the job done. When you look at the stats, it's mind-boggling when you look at the stats. Bills 90 pass plays to the Miami Dolphins 39, over 500 yards in total offense, to 200 from Miami. The Bills just pretty much doubled everything. Time of possession. I just didn't understand Josh Allen throwing 60 times like we were down 35-14. So it's a lot of things that goes into this loss of the Bills that have you scratching your head. Misfires from Gabe Davis dropping the touchdown pass to missing the field goal, to Josh Allen bobbling the snap before halftime, to kicker field goal, to Matt Milano dropping a pick 6, to just some questionable play calling on that 3rd and 22. I had to ask Coach Frazier,
Mook, you calling them out?
Oh man, me.
I know you.
Just want to get down to the bottom of it, Rube.
I know you gonna get it. I know you.
What went wrong on 3rd and 22?
Yeah.
How were they able to complete a 50-yard bomb on the number 1 passing defense in the past 2 years in the NFL? How did that happen? And Coach Frazier, with all due respect, gave me a great answer, and he was very accountable for that. He said, maybe I go back to that. I could have called a better play to put him in a better situation, and that's all you can ask for out of your coach, being accountable, put them in a better situation. Then when I go back and I look at that play, we all know the outcome. But when you look at the line play on that play, the Bills only rushed 3 guys.
Yeah.
So now I'm really scratching my damn head, because where was this at last year with 13 seconds on the line? You should have dropped 8 in coverage then. Now
you bringing up old stuff, Mook. You like a bad.
We're still mentally scarred. We're still mentally scarred from that. And here it is. It's that situation again where the Bills don't come through in the clutch and they supposed to. But so now when you look at that, I say, okay, got 8 back in coverage. Now let's really look at the play. They go bunch left. You got Waddle singled up on the bottom screen by himself. Now we got undrafted rookie from UB, Jamarcus Ingram, gives Jalen Waddle a free release off the line of scrimmage. Cardinal rule: you're never supposed to do that. You're supposed to jam Waddle up, disrupt his timing, disrupt his route, so that your safety could diagnose what's happening out there. That where the play went completely wrong at from the beginning. So can I say that was a bad call by Frazier? Maybe it was a bad call because you got a lot of, and this is where everybody kept talking about the inexperience of the Bills secondary, where Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle would have field days on. They didn't have those type of days. They just had 2 plays that cost them the game right there. Because Tyreek Hill was a no-call, no-show out there.
Yeah, Mook, I kick it off with some of the same sentiments, man. But I take it a tad bit different. On this show, when we recorded last week, we talked about what were things that could pop up that the Bills need to worry about, that could cause the game. Justus, if we go rewind this show, the things that the Bills did that caused them to lose were the exact things I said that was going to cost them the game on Sunday, as good as they are. No team is, what's the word I'm looking for? Impervious. That y'all like that one? That's an SAT one, I think.
You going with your Wonderlink verbiage?
Yeah. So the way I look at it is, what happened to the Bills is what a lesson that they needed to learn. No matter how good they are, these things like penalties, missed field goals from a guy that usually makes a field goal. You know what I mean? He's money usually for that. But if you need him every game, you miss one game, you lose to the Dolphins. And then you got to explain, oh, we are really better than them. Well, technically not this week. We have to wait for another week to prove that to everyone that we are better than them. And also to kind of put them in their real perspective. The real perspective of this past game, mainly it was the penalties and the bad plays, because not for that, the Bills came out, opening drive, went straight down the field, scored, and it seemed like every time they touched the ball, they were about to score, except for a time it came up that was costly for them. All right? So in order to win the Super Bowl, every time you touch that rock, we got to score that thing, or we got to put them in a position where they can't go back and score. Dolphins are a young, fiery team, guys. We got to show them some respect. We can't disrespect them.
All right, so you talked about the Dolphins being. You talked about them being the young team that we do have to respect, but what Coach said earlier about the Milano should have been picked, the Davis drop in the end zone, like the Bills were still in this game. So we're going to go ahead and get into the first quarter. The Bills were still in the game throughout the game. And also the defense only letting up 21 points. Are you expecting maybe your offense to get you more than that?
I'll start that one. I totally thought, and everybody that predicted or analyzed this game going into it, everyone thought the Bills would easily score as many touchdowns as they needed. No one in their right mind thought that, it was 21-19.
Yep.
I mean, come on, nobody thought that. The bettors in Vegas, nobody predicted that this was an anomaly, but it's definitely a lesson for the Bills to let them know, hey, it's almost like a running back running with the ball. You always got to carry that joker high and tight because Peanut Tillman could sneak up behind, punch that joker out. All right? And everybody will be sick. And that's what I feel like we feel today after the game. We feel like we were running for a touchdown and somebody came and punched it up from behind us and knocked the ball out because execution in the first half, nothing to sleep on Buffalo Bills. Buffalo Bills definitely make a lot of people nervous, but I think the defense did an all right job against an all right defense. And I wonder how you guys, offense. I wonder how you guys see that matchup because one, I expected more from our defense, but when we did not get more, I was okay because, I didn't see Tyreek Hill having the game that he had the week before. So, I'm kind of trying to figure what does everyone else see? How did everyone else see it? Because I didn't see it as I thought defense was adequate.
Coach, what did you think?
We lost this game. Self-inflicted from coaching to players. We have to be accountable. I mean, when you look at these stats, the Bills defense did what they supposed to do with X amount of starters not playing in this game. They only gave up 212 total yards. I mean, they gave up 171 passing. They only gave up 41 on the ground. They only rendered 15 first downs to 31 first downs. Miami punted the ball 5 times. The Bills only punted once. You got to look at that. Bills ran 90 damn plays. Tell me, out of those 90 plays, which one of them was explosive? Not a one.
None.
All right?
It have to be.
Not a one. You called 90 plays, and not now one of them was explosive plays. So, again, what are we calling? When you look at it, when the Bills first drive, they just marched down the field and just, come on, Miami, I ain't nothing. We just marched around the field like it was nothing. 3 and out. Defense get them to go 3 and out. And then what do we do on offense again? Go super conservative. We run the ball twice deep in our own damn territory.
Yes.
Now it's 3rd and long.
Yes.
And they know we got to throw the ball. And they send pressure. And Josh Allen,
Fumble.
Unrecognizably, not stepping up in the pocket, forces the turnover, give this team the ball on the 5. So the morale shifts. They score. So it's not what Miami did, it's what the Buffalo Bills didn't do. And this is why we ain't
100%
advancing against the Kansas City's in 13 seconds or beating the Tennessee Titans last year on the goal line or beating Jacksonville. It's the certain situations and the play calls that the coaches are putting them in and the players are not executing.
So basically, you talking about the number one thing that's practiced in the NFL is situational football. They constantly sit down and bring up different scenarios when it's going to be a pressure cooker situation and they got to hurry up and run plays or, they've come off of a bad turnover or something. All of these things are played out on a daily basis. So you basically saying the Buffalo Bills keep coming up with the wrong answer for those situations a lot of time. And I like what you said, Mook, because when the Bills had just scored, it's like you can't stop them. They could stand in shotgun all damn day and throw the ball and get it to whoever they wanted on the field. And then they ran it 2 times. I was like, what are they doing? I said, from my perspective, I love running the ball now, guys. Now, you're going to hear me have a bit of a contradiction, but this is only in a matter since that we talking about winning the game and putting your foot on somebody, keep them down. They just scored, and they scored easily just throwing the ball. Now you throw a couple of 2 little run plays in there, then you get stifled. Now you backing up, and do you notice all that momentum started rolling from that? Opposed to coming out there and Josh is your guy, keep firing it, hit 5 different receivers. I mean, you run 90 plays, or wait a minute. The first half, Josh had thrown 30 plus more times, 30 or so passes, right? That was the most he's passed in his career in the first half, and he hit everybody on the goddamn field. You know what I mean? Everybody on the field. and he is smoking that hot. You gonna tell Dwight Gooden to take off the fastball, and I want you to throw a knuckleball? Come on, man. That see, Mook, all your things to start cut after 3 games, after a season or 2, there's starting to be a telltale. If you can make a prediction that I'm thinking that the Bills staff is overlooking is these high pressure situations that they seem to fumble, you know.
Situational football has definitely seemed to plague the Bills over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Although with a new offensive coordinator, you would hope that, those things would be remedied. And although maybe the situational football wasn't terrible on Sunday, the execution wasn't great. But there was a situation that happened, and everybody kind of went up in arms about it. Ken Dorsey up in the booth, when they were unable to spike the ball to get the kickoff, he showed a lot of passion and frustration, and he looked pretty frustrated. Coach, from somebody who's talked to Ken Dorsey and seeing those guys up close in person and how they were feeling in the moment, what do you think about Ken Dorsey's meltdown?
That's regular football. If you're a football guy, I love the passion. I told him when I interviewed him, I love that passion. I love that because he as offensive coordinators, we're perfectionists. We want to be perfect. And if it's not perfect, we are going ape shit out there. I know I am, and I'm not even on Coach Dorsey level. I was feeling the same way from my couch when Dorsey was tearing up the club up in the booth. So I admire the passion. And, hopefully, and then they said he was a fiery guy. The players already knew that he was a fiery guy and say, no, his ass got to go up in the booth. They told us. They told us before the season even started that this dude is a fiery dude and he's a competitive guy. He got to be in the booth. He can't be in the sideline. Yeah, and we see why he can't be on the sideline. He might start a fight if he was down on the sideline. How he gets fired up.
I'll say this to that. What was you gonna say, Justus?
I was just gonna ask you, as a former player, you being on the field, you having to, experience those motions firsthand. What do you think about seeing a coach, have that type of reaction?
All right, so there's no clear-cut answer to this. It's basically based on the guy, who he is, and how everyone around him has come to perceive him. All right. I've played with coaches that like that dude got a dirty mouth, but he a good coach. Example, Karl Marx. Karl Marx, nasty mouth. You would want him to be in front of your relatives and your family, but you wanted to get the knowledge he had when it came to that football game. He had it. So I put it this way. Is this something that inspires the rest of the team, or is this something that can be an annoyance? Now, when your players are telling your coaches you need to step, that means it could possibly be an annoyance. You know what I mean? So as long as this doesn't escalate into more than what he just did and throwing a little few papers for one game, let me put it to you like this, guys. Marv Levy them wouldn't have done that. They would have had a talking with them, pull them to the side, like, hey, there's cameras up there. We put you up there so we can. You need to chill out. We love your fire. We need the fire, but
in that moment, do you think they wouldn't have let it slip?
Look. This is the beauty of what we're doing. We on TV, radio, streaming now, and we get to talk about it. Today, he is on a professional football team. So the standards for him just rose, all right? And he has to hold himself in a better manner, just for the sake of kids watching. You know what I mean? Now, how you gonna explain it to all your young boys, Mook, when they start throwing papers and kicking buckets over and throwing the Gatorade cooler? How you gonna feel? We understood because emotionally, yeah, we all disappointed and upset, but not all of us could throw papers and stomp our feet. How many of them players, if they would have done that same thing, we would look at them as petty, pouting, get over it, come on, you should have played harder in the game, yada, yada, yada. Hey, you should have had that the end of the situation better orchestrated. Number one, I'm going to go into the fact that they couldn't snap the ball to the quarterback via direct snap, or because the daggone center only practiced shotgun snaps. So when he got in a situation to actually take a snap from under the ball kept fumbling. He did it more than once in the game. All right. As a coaching staff, them players, every player that is possibly could snap in the course of a week, a year, whatever, you snap the ball to every quarterback out there before and after every practice. That's a fundamental. That's like brushing your teeth in the morning. But you don't brush your teeth. I mean, come on. And you're going to go on national TV and tell me, who is a professional football player that went to every practice, and you're going to tell me that y'all can't get a snap to the quarterback? You kidding me? I'm an offensive lineman. All three possible centers on a professional team in college is more. The first thing in practice, they all snap shotgun and under direct snap to the quarterbacks. All quarterbacks out there walking. They do it under the quarterback coming underneath. They come out. They give the center a chance to turn left, right, center, back up, pass, block. Now y'all ready to go. Go to your drills. Mm-hmm. You're going to tell me professional quarterback, I went too long on this. But see, this is letting you know there's little details. It's going to keep popping up for the Bills. And they got an amazing team. But, man, you get the wrong people the access to a Ferrari, they're going to crash.
Right. And that's something that Coach McDermott talked about when I asked him what was his thoughts. So, just looking at the overall numbers. And he was like, when you look at the numbers, we should have won that game. But again, it's the little things that we didn't do that lost us the ball game. And situational football, he said it, Rule. Situational football is something that we go over plenty of times. So those is back to the drawing board. Things that the Bills have to overcome. Especially it's real. It's an eyesore. It's an eyesore.
Hey, we got to pull the scab off the wound. You know what I mean, guys? I mean, we know our team. I'm saying to the Buffalo Bills team, if all y'all listening, y'all asses better be in the damn Super Bowl. All right? Clean up all this damn mess, this rinky-dink little stuff. I mean, it's really rinky-dink for a team to be so good. And they won a game over there just the other week. They gave the ball up like 3 times. And still won.
The Rams, yeah. And speaking of that, the Rams weren't able to, capitalize on the turnovers and come back and win. But I mean, you talk about everything the Bills did wrong. Miami didn't necessarily make those mistakes, and now they're first place in the division. And I have to ask, as we get into the third quarter, Coach, you tell me they're at the top of the AFC East? Is Miami legit?
Oh, hi. I'm gone.
Here we go again.
I'm gone. I ain't even going.
Here we go with this shoe now. Miami legit. I can put my foot back in my mouth again.
Hey, man. Hey, you ain't got to do this.
Are they legit? You know what? Yeah, I'm going to say they legit, because anytime when you play a Super Bowl contending team and you amass over just 212 total yards and you beat that team, that team, eventually that Miami Dolphins team is going to get better. So, yeah, I'm going to say the Dolphins are a legit team. I'm no hater.
I would say Miami is a good storyline for Buffalo this year because, in all intents and purposes, the Bills were going to run away with the AFC East. The Jets ain't going to be able to touch the Bills. I believe the Bills could go and turn the ball over like 6 times and beat the Jets, honestly. And the Patriots ain't much better. So the Dolphins are the competition. They are the competition. They are what the Bills are going to sharpen themselves and hone their skills because I pull out one big stat from the game that impressed me about the Dolphins that let me know that if you happen to give them boys the ball, they gonna score on you. What were they? 3 for 3 in the red zone or 4 for 4 in the red zone? Because we were 4-2 of 4.
It was 3 for 3. They scored 21 points.
3 for 3 in the red zone.
But here's the hitting stat, though, Rube. Here's the hitting stat that's not even on here. Once we talk about it again, how many explosive plays did Miami have?
They only had 2 good drives.
But they had explosive plays, though. That they had explosive plays.
Oh,
they didn't
have
it. They really they got their explosive plays over on the when they were put in the position where they had short field advantage. That's where the explosive play came, and then it was not really they didn't need to look for explosive play. I think from the Miami Dolphins, we all, because of Hill, we think of the explosive play as the really only way they operate. But where in reality, they're going to be opportunistic, So you get them in the red zone. How far does Tyreek Hill them and Waddle them got to run? They don't have to run a deep route. You're in the red zone. Get open and bam, you fall down in the red zone, or you do a little quick handoff up the gut. You're right there. So the other opportunities actually made it easy on the Miami offense to not have to really rely on their weapons. Oh no, we watch a game. If they had to rely strictly on their guns to get them down the field and them big plays, it wasn't going to happen all day for the Bills. It didn't happen. It didn't happen for them. They scored on a conservative range, basically. They didn't really have a real challenge because of what the defense and everything had all transpired. Y'all see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Well, speaking of that'll take us to the fourth quarter, and we talked about all the things that the Bills didn't do or did wrong or whatever the case may be, but it was close to 100 degrees, felt like over 100 degrees. Players talk about cramping up and needing IVs, pickle juice, the whole nine. And before we move into what this looks like for the future of the Bills going forward with the rest of the season, how much did injuries play a role in the defeat on Sunday, Rube?
I think it was the biggest part of the game on Sunday. We ran out of gas, ran out of time. Them 2 things happened to the Buffalo Bills. We ran out of depth. And I think this game is going to has taken a bigger toll on the Bills than thought originally. We look at it today, we're looking at restacking our depth charts right now with players. Our offensive line is pretty much decimated. I mean, hopefully, a few of those guys can recover, but we went through the whole ringer. And then you go to our DBs, receiver. I want to talk to Diggs them though, man, about their conditioning. The Dolphins defense was out there for that amount of plays too, guys. See, I don't want to always feel like I'm the contrarian or I got to be the devil's advocate.
No, it was Dolphins players falling out too.
Team. This is my Bills. And if them jokers was coming to talk to me like, Big Rude, what you think? I'm like, yo, man, what was wrong with y'all? And why weren't they being drugged off the field defensively? Because I know when I played offense and we ran a no-huddle offense, and it was high power in the heat, eventually the D-line would be dropping like flies. But in this case, it turned around on us.
Does it matter at all that they're from Miami and they play in that weather consistently?
It's tough to say, man. We professional NFL players now. You know what I mean? Some of these guys from Florida. You know what I mean? How many guys on the Bills?
The whole running back room is from Florida.
Yeah. So I mean, come on, guys.
Isaiah McKenzie said, "Man, and I'm born and raised right here in South Florida. I'm more used to being in Buffalo now." And
that ain't it.
I'm just saying. I mean, but you gotta look at it though. The Bills defense, they only was out there for 39 plays.
Short period. They weren't out there, but the Miami Dolphins defense was out there for
but the Bills,
but their defense was out there for 90 plays.
The Bills offense also put up 400 yards of total offense. So it wasn't like they wasn't, going out there playing well. They just couldn't capitalize.
It was like the battle where we kept throwing our men overboard, and now only person left standing is Coach Josh. Josh, the last one, the whole O-line is decimated. Thank God, Dawkins, man, I was worried about the older guys over there on the line because, in the past we've had injuries from those guys, and I really wanted to see those guys make it through. Dawkins, I want him to go through the whole season, no trouble and stuff, and be the guy that I think he can be. And I'm glad they made it, but then we get center, guards, tackle. I mean, that's a tough one.
Yeah, you got Tommy Doyle going down towards ACL. You got Ryan Bates, concussion protocol. Mitch Morris not playing. So, that's half your line really right there, in the situation.
The Bills
at the end of the day, we can cry about the injuries all we want. We can make that excuse, but that still ain't win the ball game. At the end of the day, no matter how many more stats the Bills had over Miami made more plays than the Buffalo Bills did. Yeah. And that's why Miami won that game.
Yeah. I just want to give some context real quick. So the injury report was Jordan Poyer, Micah Hyde, Tre'Davious White, obviously, Dane Jackson, Jordan Phillips, Stephon Diggs, Isaiah McKenzie, Gabe Davis, Jake Kumaro, Christian Benford, Spencer Brown, Dawson Knox, Mitch Morris, Van Roten, Ed Oliver, Ryan Bates. So 16 players that ended up being injured before the game or during the game. So that's
and he still should have won the game.
He still should have won the game. And everyone's
multiple times
credit for a gutsy game, and you have to give them credit for a gutsy game. Them guys went down there, played in some hot weather, and did the best they could. And they got inched out. They didn't get beat out. They got inched out. And that's what's going to make it so exciting come later in the season. I mean, it's going to be on, man, when they meet up again later on in the year. Where were we talking? December later?
I cannot wait for that.
That's going to be off the chain in our house. Come on,
ain't going to be no torpedoes on their sideline either, because whoever made that damn stadium out there in Miami did exactly how to make that damn stadium.
Exactly
where their side is shaded.
The
side is hot as ever.
For sure.
They did the math on that.
They definitely did.
When they were talking about it on the broadcast.
I got to find out who did the architect. I don't know if it was Keywood or not, but that was well designed. And
it's smart. Listen, I'm going to tell y'all right now. In Buffalo, I would make us play on ice and snow. You know what I mean? And everybody ever talk about putting a dome on the stadium, kill it. We want as much snow in that joker, as much inclement weather. Make it just difficult.
Let me ask you, why do you say that though?
Because I think it breaks guys down over the long.
You think it gives Buffalo an advantage?
Yeah, it definitely gives you.
So how come the Heat doesn't give Miami an advantage?
Well, because everyone starts off in the heat. Everyone starts the season in the heat, generally. Now, everyone doesn't get – now, if you want to talk real heat when it's preparing for football, go to Louisiana. All right, Mississippi, Louisiana. Woo-hoo. All right. So everybody else, y'all just hot. Okay.
But what was the hottest game you ever played at in Miami? As you know, they were saying that it was over 100 degrees on the field at 1 o'clock. Now, mind you, they playing at 1 o'clock. They ain't
That's
playing
a
at
dumb
4. They
move.
ain't playing at night.
They know they can change all of that. NFL has some ability to change all that, and they know that everybody needs to change time wise. Even though I love 1 o'clock games as a player, the hottest game I played in, guys, was Jacksonville. Greg Williams first year, Drew Bledsoe year. Remember?
Mm-hmm.
We went down there. We smoked them out, but it was hot, and they were tired. They were the ones tired in the game. I remember, I distinctly remember, because they had big what's the big D tackles? Not Stroud. We had Stroud.
Marcus Stroud. No, we had Stroud that year.
What was the other one? Henderson and Stroud.
Yeah, Henderson and Stroud. Gerald Henderson.
Oh, yeah.
Monsters.
Just imagine.
I was shocked that y'all handled them how y'all handled them too.
We locked them down, but I'm telling you, man, just imagine that's the way you gotta go make your money. You gotta go out there and face two monsters. You know, I gotta stop these two monsters that can eat you alive. And I'm telling you, it was hot, hotter than hot. But you know, we got on them and stayed on them. They ended up wearing down. And I think that's due to preparation throughout the course of camp. A lot of times you overwork guys during camp. You get into that first 2 games, your legs go melt. You might get a quarter, but you can't get 4 quarters. It's depending on how you train them. And then once you get into the season and all of that stuff. So, you know, but we were talking about injuries. That heat, that's an injury. You know, heat sickness is an injury. And
Spencer Brown went out with heat illness.
Yeah. And that's no joke, guys. I used to poo-poo it like I'm tough enough, I can make it, until, you know, we lost Corey Stringer some years back due to this type of thing. So it's become a lot more knowledgeable to me how serious it is, because, you know, I grew up in the caveman days. They ain't give you water. You know what I mean?
Now, you ain't did that. What you want water for?
You was weak if you had to go for water in the heat. It'd be hot as hell out there. And they'd be like, water, you don't get water till you're done. Like, damn.
All right, guys. We're gonna go ahead and get into the kneel down. You know what that means. We have some some special segments for you guys. We're gonna start off with Coach and his thoughts on the NFL week, or whatever he has thoughts on. A moment with Muki. What you thinking about, Coach?
My moment is, it's a lot of parity in the NFL. A lot of surprises. The Bills went down, Kansas City went down, the Chargers got their ass kicked. So it's a lot of parity. I'm surprised by these damn Philadelphia. Well, you know what? I'm not surprised by Philadelphia. I am not surprised by Philadelphia. Let me say that again. I had the opportunity at the Combine to watch Jalen Hurts throw. And I thought, other than Herbert, he was the second best quarterback at the Combine. And right now, Jalen Hurts has proven that. You know, he gave him the opportunity. Should have got drafted in the first round. He didn't. He fell in the Phillies' lap. And now look at it. Now everybody's trying to get that mobile, accurate quarterback. Jalen Hurts, he's definitely balling. MVP candidate. Lamar Jackson, the guy that we're going to have to face this week, is on a whole nother level right now. So, that's just my moment of it. It's a lot of parity, and this thing ain't really going to sort this thing out, or really start to separate, I think, to like week 6. We really going to tell the tape on who's contending or who's pretending. But my biggest moment, injury, non-injury, Tua smacks his head on the ground. He gets up, shakes his head, do the stanky leg in front of him. And they're going to say it was a back problem.
Not the stanky leg.
Really? A back problem.
Smell funny?
Yeah, it smells definitely funny, because the way Bridgewater came out there in that series, they was like, oh, hell no, we cannot. man, please say you all right. Just say you all right.
Yeah, you all right.
We're going to put you back out there. We don't care what the doctor said.
Yeah.
As long as you say you all right, you're good to go.
It was your back, won't it? It was your back, won't it? Yeah,
back.
yeah, that's right. It was your back.
It's your back because you can't detect the back injury.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? So I give the Dolphins head coach credit. He's a smart joker. That's why he went to that Ivy League school. I tell you that. NFL's investigating it, but it don't matter anyway. I mean, hey, he was out there. He executed that 3rd and 22 like he ain't had no concussion. So
yeah, he came back.
You know, so that's just my take on that. But I'm good to see some parity in NFL, and I'm excited for the season.
All right, next up, we got the legendary Hall of Fame candidate, Reubens Rundown with Reuben Brown. What you thinking about, Rube?
Well, you know, what I'm thinking about is that the Bills going to find themselves in a learning process. They're going to have to learn how to win without all of their pieces sometimes. And that is what's going to make them a championship team. Aside from correcting up the situational football mistakes that keep cropping up on their ass, but generally, they're going to have to figure out how to win games when they don't have their projected year starting roster. You know, hey, Vaughn, everybody's healthy roster. You know what I mean? And because, guys, we know the game is played, we got 17 regular season games, a lot of ups and downs. A guy could pull a hamstring a week. A guy could do whatever, miss 2 games, 3 games, whatever. And you're going to have to interchange parts. And we need to know that they can interchange the parts and still keep winning, you know. And it doesn't have to be I know as a fan this year, the hype is we're expecting all blowouts, but I just prefer just winning, you know. Mm-hmm. And if they got to put the long snapper at center and come up with a scheme to win, just win. And, right. And you might, it got close to that, you know. So that's what I want to run down. Like, the Bills have to learn how to win without all of their pieces, or when things aren't going ideally perfectly well. And that is going to make them probably more formidable than when they are healthy and they could just walk down the field and do it. You know what I mean? So I look at this adversity that they're facing with injuries right now. It's really an opportunity for them to grow and become a more dominant team, you know, because these young guys are going to get that experience. A few guys are going to get healthy and come back, and all of that's going to mesh and make this the best team in the NFL, which everybody knows they are. It's just they got to put it together and make it happen. And that's my rundown. I'll sneak one little thing in there because Muki and I were talking about how they came out and ran them 2 run plays, and then instead of passing, and I'm talking to a few people that's like, I think, Rube, that's the first time I ever heard you say not to run the ball. And I was like, well, when you got the steam rolling, man, you got to keep that joker, keep it hot, you know. And I think that series of plays really threw a douse of water on the Bills, and from that point on, they never seemed the same. So
right, they didn't recover. Now, if you go down there on that second possession do it, and just, man, like you said, Rube, just
like he did before,
pass, man, go get another score. Now it's 14-0.
Now you can appease Ruben all the rest of the game because you up by a couple. You can say, all right, Ruben, see, we trying to run it. I'll be like, okay.
Right. Run it when you up 14. So now you can control the game, playing clock ball, because now we have a 14-point lead. Now you can try to run the ball.
Listen, the opening was there for him to pick the ball up and gun it all the way down the field. It was open and you should have taken it. And that's what I'm saying. And this goes into this critical thinking about situational football and putting the guys in the right position and stuff. Come on, guys. The clock is ticking. February is coming. All right. And when February comes, all of that's got to be cleaned up. They got to be on point. Well, Andy Reid will be going back.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
So.
All right. Last but not least, we have a general rule with myself, Justice General Radford. So for me, the way I look at this game, the more I think about it, the less I'm upset about it. The more I kind of feel like it may be a good thing for the Bills in the long run, right? Outside of it being a conference loss, that that obviously affects the playoffs. I don't think the divisional loss will be a problem because I don't think Miami's that good of a team, and I don't think they'll even be in the conversation later on, right? But a conference loss does hurt. I think that going up against a top 5 quarterback in Lamar, who's playing out of his mind right now, and a tough Ravens team, I think that, a little slap in the back of the head, you feeling yourself, you think you hot, and you kind of, you catch one that you wasn't expecting. And, I think this will refocus them. I think this will, reinvigorate them and give them, more ammo, more amp to go out there and make it happen. And, you like I said, you go up against another what we perceive to be an AFC powerhouse right now. And I think these are the games, like Rube said, these are the games that's going to help you prepare for February or January and February, because like Coach said, we've lost the last 7 one-score games. In January and February, you're not blowing people out the same way that you can, in week 1 and 2. Those are tough games. They've seen what you run all season long. You gotta run the football, especially when it's cold outside. And I think this is where it's and again, I personally love seeing Coach Dorsey, have that type of passion and show that type of because again, that's how I felt watching it. So to know that the same feelings and sentiment and the same passion I share is in that locker room, it feels good as a fan, so I think this is where they have the ability to kind of play the underdog role, not necessarily the underdog role, but like the role where like people are counting you out and stuff, even though they're probably not, but you could pretend and put it in your head and have that little chip on your shoulder. So the more I think about it, the more I am less bothered by this loss. And I know it'll feel good to watch the Bills stomp the Dolphins in December. So I'm excited about that.
There you go.
All right, fellas, we got anything else before we head up out of here?
No, Coach McDermott always preaching about finding a way. So, again, the Bills need to find a way. It's another teaching moment for these guys, and I'm glad that it's happening early. So it's another way to keep them humbled and hungry. Another thing that Coach McDermott always preaches. So no less that this is going to – I'm kind of glad they took this loss because this is going to add fuel to the fire and, keep them on their P's and Q's going up against Baltimore because they know now – this is a team you have to perform for in order to win, in order to stay atop of the AFC. So look forward to the Bills playing much better. Look forward to hopefully getting Jordan Phillips back because if Jordan Phillips would have played, it would have been a whole totally different ballgame. Even though
missing was so apparent, like I never thought it would be that obvious to see a D tackle gone.
That was huge.
And the Bills only still gave up 40 yards on the ground, but just his presence alone, pushing the pocket, getting after Tua by himself is, his presence definitely was missed out there. Look for Poyer and those guys to be out there as well. The Bills brought in, Xavier Rhodes for a workout. Maybe they probably be signing him later on this week because Benford's going to be out. So Kyer Elam. Who played well this week is, definitely going to be starting from here on in. And, I think it's going to be a good matchup against Baltimore. We'll have a few bit more of the guys.
Hey, so Mo, you go to the stadium each day for the reporters, you talk to the players and shit?
Mm-hmm.
You do. Tell the kicker, get back on the street, man.
Right.
Tell him, get back on it.
I'm going to tell Bassey that, man.
Get back on that damn streak.
Also, one last thing before we go. The Buffalo Bills, real quick. The Buffalo Bills signed guard / tackle Justin Murray today.
Oh yeah.
So that is more depth on the offensive line.
Yeah, that's for Tommy Doyle because he tore the AC. He's out for the season, so they had to replace him. with a guy. So, from out of Arizona, played college ball at Cincinnati, 6'5", 315 pounds. He's another interchangeable player. He can play guard and tackle. So, Bills love that player flexibility.
Now, you got to play multiple positions. All good, fellas. That's what's up.